A transatlantic flight requires almost as much energy as 215 households in Europe require throughout an entire year. That is also about the same as 5 to 10,000 fully charged electric vehicles. And this is the reason why international flights, next to shipping, next to steel production, next to fertilizer production, other industrial processes, require something else than pure electrification. One of the solutions for this is hydrogen. And hydrogen has the problem right now that, especially if it's produced in a green way, in a sustainable way, it is 4 to 8 times more expensive than hydrogen produced from fossil fuels. Hi, I'm Benjamin. I'm the CEO of DMEC, and I will talk with you today about one particular way of hydrogen. We are an accelerator knowledge center for offshore renewable energy, and therefore, you might have guessed it already, we're talking today about offshore renewable hydrogen. So let's jump directly into it. Scientists and engineers around the world are battling with this topic. Is offshore renewable hydrogen actually a suitable solution for the future? But what does offshore renewable hydrogen actually mean? And in what context do we look at it? For us in particular as DMEC, we're looking into it from a system integration perspective. Because we are an accelerator which also has several accelerator programs. One of those is the Interreg North Sea Region Oasis project. And in this accelerator project, we're looking at system integration companies which can help to transfer electricity back to shore, store electricity, but maybe also convert electricity into things like green hydrogen. As discussed in the video about the challenges we're facing in the offshore renewable energy transition generally, we are already seeing a large cost addition if we bring a technology offshore. It's more difficult on engineering, it's a harsher environment, and we also already mentioned that hydrogen, green hydrogen, is not yet cost competitive. So what is the actual benefit of bringing it offshore? Here, the key part of it is if we go very far offshore. There have been several studies done by renowned institutes like TNO, Fraunhofer, some consultancy companies like eBridge, McDermott, and also ourselves, which look into this topic. If you bring a wind farm or energy generation technology very far offshore, 200, 300 kilometers, then it could potentially mean that the entire electrical infrastructure you need to build to transport this electricity back to shore might be too costly. And you could remove or reduce the amount of electrical infrastructure you need by producing hydrogen there and then using a very large pipeline to produce this or to send this hydrogen back to shore. That is a bit the anticipated solution for these energy parks which are very far offshore. But there's also a lot of criticism or a lot of thought on this still, actually the right solution for it. If this will really be cheaper than the electrical system, if the entire platforms you need to install there, let's say we have a standard wind park, which is a 1 gigawatt wind park, so about the same as one nuclear power plant, and something we already see in construction, then you would need 2 large oil and gas rigs where you actually produce the hydrogen. And then you need to compress it and then send it to your pipeline. And you would need to have several ones of those to make this pipeline count. Because one of these pipelines, like in Germany, there's a pipeline plant called the Aqueductus, which has about a capacity of 20 gigawatts, so 20 times these wind parks. And if you're talking about this 20 gigawatts, then you are comparing one large hydrogen pipeline of 20 gigawatts connected to these 20 wind parks with basically 10 offshore cables. And now it's the question, what is cheaper, what is more expensive, what is better for our energy system? And the energy system is the second advantage, the second consideration when we talk about offshore hydrogen. Because we already see now the problem that wind, when it produces in the North Sea, which has a lot of wind installations, wind becomes very low in selling price, can even become negative in some legislations. So this is not very attractive for new project developers who want to develop wind. So with offshore hydrogen, they are not trying to sell the wind at this very high or very low prices, at this very high wind times, but instead they're looking into selling then this commodity of hydrogen. But also here, there's again the question, will this commodity ever become commercially viable? Will it ever become able to compete with the gray hydrogen? So still a lot of research to be done. Summarizing all of that, there are benefits of why we could and should investigate offshore hydrogen, offshore green hydrogen in particular. But there are also still a lot of challenges which we need to answer before we go full throttle for offshore hydrogen. DMEC is looking into both, into the advantages and into the challenges, and trying to find the best way in between those. And as we need to do this together with partners, as we need to have the right innovations which can actually implement these new technologies which we need, we have the OASIS Accelerator program over the next few years from 2025 to 2028, which helps several startups and scale-ups which are in this system integration periphery, not just offshore hydrogen, but also offshore storage and also demand management. So if you're a startup, a scale-up in that field, and if you're based in the North Sea region of Europe, come and join us for one of these accelerator programs and feel free to apply there. If you're just interested in learning more about the wonderful and fascinating world of offshore renewable energy and all the systems around it, just follow us here on this channel and stay tuned for more videos to come. Thanks a lot.